And welcome back. As we mentioned earlier in the program, when Democrats look to oppose Judge Amy Coney Barrett's appointment to the High Court this week, they're not expected to challenge her when it comes to religious beliefs or her opposition, even so much as to abortion. And that's in part because her critics don't want it to look like they are opposing her nomination when it comes to religious grounds, afraid of alienated voters so close to an election. But there are some legitimate questions to be posed, even if the Democrats in the committee may be afraid to ask them. Coney Barrett has a long association with a controversial authoritarian Christian group called People of Praise. It is a group that former members have likened to a cult. Barrett has even served in leadership positions in several entities connected to the organization. Now, among their reported beliefs, that only people identified as family heads can make major life decisions, and that for married women like Barrett, that family head is by definition her husband. Single women can live in a commune where every woman gives money to the group, and a head of sisterhood makes all decisions impacting that commune. Homosexuality or sex outside of marriage are not allowed. Teenagers barred from having exclusive relationships, in part because friendships outside the People of Praise are considered dangerous to the group. Well, just last week came reporting that not only is Judge Coney Barrett closely aligned to the group, but while she was at law school at Notre Dame, she lived in the home of the group's co-founder. And this, as former members of the group are coming forward giving new insights into the organization and warning about the influence it could have not just on Coney Barrett, but by extension on the Supreme Court. Now, one of those, Coral Anika Theill, she a former member who went by the title handmaid while she was a part of the People of Praise community. And Anika, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Well, we've already seen the organization push back on the term cult. They in fact say that they value independent thinking and that men and women share fundamental equality as bearers of God's image, they say. Your experience is otherwise. You believe that there's a clear distinction between men and women, and moreover, individualism is not encouraged.
That is true. I had no rights in the community, and many crimes were committed against me by community leaders. I was a part of the People of Praise community in Corvallis, Oregon, but many of the members from South Bend did come out to disciple us. I had no rights to my own body. I wasn't even allowed to see my family, and even my father, the night he died, I was not allowed to see him. But my husband, he was my absolute head, and he had a head also, Ed Brown. And then I was under a handmaid who would be Connie Hackenbrook. And there were many abuses, again, and crimes committed against me while I was a member.
The allegiance of members of People of Praise, is it to country first, or is it actually to the particular organization?
Well, Paul DeSales, one of the founder, came out and gave retreats for us. Also his wife, Jeannie DeSales, and Paul DeSales is quoted as saying that the loyalty to the community is more important than any relationship, even your marriage. So my husband, his loyalty was to the community first, and Dr. Paul Hesburgh Sr. witnessed the abuse that I suffered from cult leaders and my husband, and he literally said on videotape that the People of Praise community leaders enabled my husband to become a super predator in his own home. And basically, the community is about the subjugation of women, and they have absolute power and control.
As of, I believe, as recently as 2017, on Judge Coney Barrett's homepage, there was references to the church, even on the church's organization. Obviously, they had her image up there with her connection. That was scrubbed since when she was up for a federal judgeship, and obviously it's long gone now as she's up for a SCOTUS position. Do you believe that someone could live in the home, literally, of the founder, of one of the co-founders of this, and not have a direct connection to People of Praise? Do you think that, for us who aren't as obviously versed as you, she's got a passing connection, or that the judge here is very aligned with the church and their teachings?
Well, if she's still a member of the cult, or community, she is under the headship of her husband, who's under the headship of someone else, and that's in direct submission to them and their authority. I do not know how she'll divide that in making decisions.
Do you think for the average person watching us right now that, Coral, people should be concerned as to how the role of the church will impact her view of not only the law, but also the role of or equality when it comes to women or women's own self-decisions?
Well, everyone should be very alarmed just about human rights. And I'm not against Judge Amy Coney Barrett. I am for fairness, I am for justice, I am for equality, and those are opposite of this people of praise community. And even through these Senate hearings, the Republicans have been talking about those of us coming forward that were attacking her faith and religion. I and others are not doing that. We have lived in these communities. We have witnessed abuse. We have been abused. And so basically, it's a power structure. Stephen Hassan of Freedom of the Mind, he identifies this group as a cult, and it's a high authoritarian control group. And if you are not in conformity to them, for me, they called me mentally ill. I was interrogated even after I had a miscarriage in DNC because I had to go home at a women's meeting. They all wanted to go shopping, and I was weak from the surgery, and I said I needed to go home. And my handmaiden, who could be someone like Amy Barrett, she was in authority over me, and she made a call and reported me. I was in disobedience. So a car was running when I got home. A man from the community was there at our home to watch our young children. And I was forced in a car, taken to the head leaders of the community and interrogated through the night. And I was just tired. And they called me poisonous, that I did not know how to cut the mustard. And the next day they made a call, and the whole community was to shun me and not look at me. And then I was watched. Even the people of praise community women from Vancouver, Washington would come to my home when my husband wasn't there, so I could not call or escape. So I was watched, and I was also forced in a car to go to Sunday community meetings for months with my husband. I was not allowed as a woman to leave or to stay home. A lot of people don't understand that, but I had to go to meetings, and I was forced to sit on the floor outside of meetings. And even Dr. Paul Hesburgh Sr. of Wenatchee, Washington, has verified that. He saw me, he walked by me, and it was a form of a punishment. And I experienced many abuses like that and crimes. And it was all just business as usual for them.
Well, Coral, I appreciate you giving us some insight into the organization and sharing your experiences as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. When we come back, we're going to pivot to politics. Believe it or not, tomorrow will be 3 weeks from the election. That's right. We're only 22 days away. A lot to get into from where we are with the state of the race, with the president looking up at Joe Biden, and also a lot of Republicans real worried here. Senators hoping to keep their job, and the poll numbers don't look good for them. We'll have more on that after this.